All right, hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we are going to be going over honestly just some kind of sort of random stuff. I have an abundance of cars on my shelves down here, and I'm just going to start, chopping through them, but I figured these would be pretty cool to go through. So down here on the left, we'll start off. We've got a Matchbox Collectors Series. This one's pretty cool. It's looks like whatchamacallit, Pro Stock Dragster, Pedal Beast. But this is a 62 Plymouth Savoy. I just recently got a Johnny Lightning 60, I believe it was also a 62 Plymouth Savoy. So when I open that up, I'll bring my Johnny Lightning one down as well. Next up, well, here, we'll do this one first. We'll go chronologically. We've got a 54 Chevy Corvair. Another very interesting car. As you can see, it's kind of like a fastback, sort of hardtop version of the mid-50s Corvettes. And I'll pull over my 53 Corvette, and we can take a look at that as well. We'll do some quick comparisons. Next up, we have a 62 Chevy Corvair. I do remember, not super recently, but past couple videos, I talked about getting my hands on some Corvairs. So I was able to find this 62 Corvair. As you can see, this is when they became a rear engine kind of little death trap. And then lastly, down here on the end, I have another 1970 Plymouth Superbird. If you remember this car, I presented it in a video, but I never opened it because I just kind of felt bad about opening an MCACN event car. Like, this is the official event car. But I've come to terms with it. I'm going to open it. So we're going to crack this guy open in this video. But first off, I want to show you guys some really cool stuff that I just recently received in the mail from my father. So he sent me a new lift, and this lift is super cool. Here, let me tilt the camera so it's, there we go. It is it's another green light lift, but it's Holly. It's got Holly markings all over it. Very cool looking. I love the black and red, and I think this might be the new lift, my regular go-to lift, and then we'll have the STP and the blue ones over here if we want to do car comparisons. But I think for the time being, this is going to be the lift. I absolutely love the black and red on this thing. So not only did he send me a lift, or a Holly themed lift, but we got a matching Holly themed, I believe this is a 41 Willys Coupe. This is an M2 casting. No boxes with these guys, but either way, still very nice. So there's that one, as well as a Moon Eyes themed Willys Coupe gasser. These are both gassers. I also have a non-gasser Willys Coupe from quite a while ago. I unboxed this on the channel a couple months ago, close to a year ago actually, at least. But I just wanted to take a quick minute to talk about these real quick. Sorry, I had to pause there. There was a huge smudge on my camera lens. But these are absolutely awesome. Now, if you guys know, and if you've been watching for the channel for a while, you'll know I get a little picky with M2 stuff. Their scaling can get a little weird with some of their muscle cars. They can get a little big. That being said, though, the Willys Coupe is one of my favorite M2 castings because of the scaling. They are right on par with their Johnny Lightning counterparts. It doesn't, they look right together, these are true 1/64 scale, I guess. Yeah, some of M2 stuff can get a little big, and it almost seems like it's like 1/62 scale or something. But, yeah, super cool cars. So we'll go ahead and actually zoom in. You can check, this one I think might be my favorite, with the Steelies in the back, 392 Hemi under the hood, and then the Holly high performance carburation, big logo on the side. I actually have a We'll zoom back out real quick. A Holly-themed Studebaker pickup truck from M2 as well. Pull that over real quick. Another gasser. I really do like M2's kind of sponsored vehicles. I don't know if they're sponsored, but you know what I mean. Like when they have, I have a few of the Lunati Cams cars. Mr. Gasket. I know I have a lot of Mr. Gasket stuff from M2. But the Holly Willys and the Holly Lift look absolutely fantastic together. And then real quick, we'll take a look at the Moon Eyes gasser as well. Of course, another one with a Hemi under the hood. Moon Eyes is another one of my favorites. I absolutely love them. I just think it's such a cool looking logo. Yeah, really sweet looking car. I do love M2's casting of the Willys so much. How they have the grill removed for the little fuel tank in there. Very cool detail. You've got the headers coming out right behind the fender there. There's the Mr. Gasket logo right there. Again, with the Steelies in the back and then the skinnies up front. Very, very authentic look. Very cool looking. So here we'll do one of these so you guys can get a view of front and back there. But yeah, very, very cool stuff. Very excited about these. So we'll go ahead and put these guys over on... I'm going to put these on the parking garage for now, just because I have another Willys gasser. Not an M2, but a Johnny Lightning over there with it. So let's get into our boxed stuff. We'll start off with the 62 Plymouth Savoy here from Matchbox. All right, so here is our Matchbox 62 Plymouth Savoy. Very, very cool looking car. I guess sort of a pro stock paint job here. The Pedal Beast, it says down the side there. If we look very closely on the trunk, you can see it says Matchbox Drag Racing Division. Along the top of the fender there. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that this isn't like a replica of a real car. It's just kind of a, you know, historically accurate but fictional vehicle. Very good looking though. I absolutely love the paint job on here. You got all kinds of sponsorships on the hood. A lot of nice detail on there. Headlights, grille, turn signals, all detailed in. We do have our Plymouth logo on the side of the fender there, if you can just about make that out, right about there. Again, this does have rubber tires on it, but it is a plastic base. If we take a look at our base here, 62 Plymouth Savoy, Matchbox. Yeah, so it feels light. Go ahead and zoom back out here. There we go. Yeah, it feels a little weird not having a metal base under this. I know some of the Auto World Deluxe series are also all plastic, but it is nice that it has rubber tires on it. I do like that. This is part of the Matchbox Collectors series. So go ahead and take a look at our card here. Number 17 of 20. There's a little picture of what the car would look like in real life, I guess. Little Mattel logo over the headlights there. I wonder, does the actual... Oh my gosh, the actual headlights say Mattel over them on the car. You can't really make it out on the on camera there, but that's very interesting. They don't really tell you much about it. It's just all the copyright nonsense, and it's all in different languages because they're universally sold, so we don't really get to find out much more about any of the other cars in this series, but quite all right. Go ahead and stick the card over there. We also get this nice little collector's box that comes with it. 62 Plymouth Savoy. So I'll probably stick that with all my other various Matchbox and, I'm sorry, Johnny Lightning little display cases or whatever you want to call them. Very, very cool car. So we'll go ahead and take a look real quick before we forget. I also brought down my Johnny Lightning Plymouth Savoy Max Wedge. Kind of a bit more of a sleeper style car here, but the scaling is spot on. They almost look like they could be the same casting. If you can see that, they are, wow, they are very, very close. So usually what that means when you have two castings from two different brands that look almost identical, usually that means that they did a good job replicating the car. I like the Matchbox one better. The paint job is just so cool on the Matchbox. Although that front axle is a little bit narrow to sit on the lift there, quite right. The Johnny Lightning is a bit more plain Jane. Although you can see it does have Hoosier slicks in the back. So a bit of a sleeper there. But yeah, those are my, and this was a, what year were you? Oh, right, Johnny Lightning doesn't tell you. I believe this was also a 62, though, if I'm not mistaken. So I now have two 1962 Plymouth Savoys in my collection. So very, very cool stuff. We'll go ahead and get these parked up. We'll get this guy back in the case. But we'll go ahead and park up our Savoy here. All right, so next up, I think we'll do these two at once here. Scoot that over. And open up both of our two Chevy Corvairs, the 54 and 62. All right, guys, so here is our 54 Chevy Corvair in a nice, it seems like it should be polo white, but it almost is a little bit bluish. Not bluish, but like kind of an off-white, whereas the Corvette over here you can see in the background is polo white. This guy, however, so this is a 54 Chevrolet Corvair, and you can already see the similarities in the front end with the Corvette, right down to the emblem on the front there. That is the Chevrolet. Come on, can we read it? Barely. But it does say Chevrolet Corvette on the front. However, this is a hard top with kind of the fastback, and the although it doesn't have a back seat, it's kind of an enclosed top with a trunk, making it the Corvair variation. Very interesting rear end. Wow. Does have the exhaust pipes exiting out the back, similar to the Corvette here, although they're a bit harder to see on the Corvette. So originally, yeah, the Corvair was kind of supposed to be just a variation of the Corvette. And then, of course, you also had, in 1954, the Corvette Nomad, which I don't believe went actually into production. But if I'm not mistaken, these Corvairs did go into production. And however, if they did, I think they were very, very, they did not sell very well. They didn't make these for a long time. It wasn't long after that the Corvair became its own car, as opposed to being kind of a variation of the Corvette. So we actually happen to have an example of that right here. So this is a 1962 Chevy Corvair, much more commonly known, much more commonly seen at car shows and things like that. These were the ones that were absolute death traps, because as you can see, I have the trunk open because they were a rear engine vehicle. And what that does is it puts all of the vehicle's weight behind the rear axle. So if you go around a turn and there is more than 3 drops of rain on the ground, you are going to slide. The ass end of that car is going to kick out and try to pass you. And I also believe, I know a lot of cars in the 50s and 60s didn't have a collapsible steering column, but I've heard horror stories specifically of the Corvair steering column impaling people after they had spun out and crashed into something. So we'll go ahead and get our hood trunk closed here. There we go. Yeah, really cool looking car though. I absolutely love the paint job on here. Nice Sunoco theme with the yellow wheels. They are my favorite kind of wheels. The kind of Krager D windows, I believe they're called. In a nice Sunoco yellow, looks like a NASCAR. Number 32. Don't really know if this is any kind of replica of a specific race car, or if this is just, you know, a generic race car themed Chevy Corvair, Sunoco racing themed. But very good looking car here. That is our two Chevy Corvairs. One from, of course, you know, early 50s to early 60s. You can obviously see what happened to the vehicle once it became its own car. We actually, before I forget, let's take a look at our cards here. The 54, although it doesn't have any fun facts on it, does give you a bonus chrome display stand, which we have right here. I might find something to do with that, because that does look really cool on there. Ooh, careful. It is cardboard, though, so yeah. But this was part of the fabulous Motorama General Motors Dream Car Showcase series. And in this series, we also have a 53 Buick Super, a 55 Chevy Nomad, a 55 Chevy Cameo, 57 Bel Air, and a 58 Impala. I have not seen any of those online, although I have looked for the fabulous Motorama series from Johnny Lightning. I've not been able to find much, so if I ever do, you guys will be the first to know, I'm sure. And we also have our card for 62 Corvair, this one being a bit of a later release. This is part of a Muscle Cars USA release from Johnny Lightning. I believe this is 2019, as you can see there. Get a 62 Corvair, 63 Galaxy, 67 GTX, 57 Corvette, 69 Charger Daytona, and a 70 Plymouth Cuda. And finally, we've got some muscle facts. It says this yellow and blue paint scheme was inspired by actual Sunoco racing cars. Yeah, you don't say. This is the first time Johnny Lightning has replicated a 62 Chevy Corvair Monza Spider. Kind of dropped the ball on the fun facts there. It's not really anything too interesting. But yes, this is a Monza Spider. Unfortunately, I'm not too brushed up on my Corvairs because they're not big block muscle cars. So I'm not 100% sure of the specs and motors in these things, but they were not V8 powered cars. But still very cool to add a Corvair to the collection. Kind of a unique vehicle. And then the 50s Corvair is even cooler. I absolutely love this thing. This might find a spot up on top of a shelf with the 53 Corvette there. So we'll go ahead and get those scooted all over the place here. I've got lifts everywhere. I've got cars everywhere. This is getting a little chaotic. So we will move on to our last car for today's video, and that is the 1970 Plymouth Superbird. And again, this is the MCACN official car. So I did order this, and they're very limited, 1,500. That's not a lot, but yeah, I'm just gonna open it. All right, so I am holding the hood open here because, as you can see, it just does not want to stay open. So we'll take a quick peek underneath the hood there. There's our 426 Hemi in Hemi Orange. And although I can tell, I don't think you guys are going to be able to see this, but that engine block is actually a slightly different orange than the rest of the car. because this car is actually not Hemi orange. This is a piece of paint under the windshield. This is Tour Red, as we can see on the card here. As you can just about see, there you go. Tour Red is our paint code. Oh, and before I forget, the corvair was Sunoco blue and yellow. But yes, this is Tour Red. Although, honestly, in my opinion, guys, this is orange. You know, to me, that is red. You know, this is orange. But you know, whatever. I'm not the one that painted the car. But either way, very, very nice looking car. I absolutely love the Superbirds. They are my all-time favorite car. And then, of course, this being a muscle car and Corvette Nationals official event car, this is a very special edition one. And then, of course, we get the MCACN. Ooh! Like, literally talking about how special it is, and I just drop it off the lift. But you can see on the back of the car there our MCACN logo. And then, of course, all of our necessary details down to the Plymouth emblem. Little Roadrunner cartoon character on the spoiler. Absolutely love that about this car. Yeah, Wile E. Coyote was certainly not catching you with a Hemi. Very, very nice car. I absolutely love the wheels on this casting as well. The kind of four-spoke steelies with the chrome center caps. This is going to look absolutely fantastic with my other Superbird that I recently unboxed, this nice lime green one. So I'll certainly probably maybe try to put those two together in the case there. Very, very good looking car. Absolutely love it. So let's take a look at our card here, since we do have a very interesting card. I'm actually going to go ahead and zoom out for this one so we can get the full effect here. Let's see, we have beep beep facts because little Roadrunner there. It says, this diecast is an authentic replica of the actual car owned by Tom Lowe, president of Round 2, which was on display at the 2022 Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. So the president of the company that owns Johnny Lightning, this is a replica of his car. Now I feel really bad for opening this. The Plymouth Superbird was a homologation car with just enough built for the public to satisfy the rules of NASCAR racing. I believe we've talked about that before. Basically what that means is that Dodge wanted to race this, or Plymouth, Chrysler, whoever. They wanted to put the Superbird into NASCAR because the thing was an absolute speed demon. The Charger Daytona was the first NASCAR to go over 200 miles an hour. This immediately followed. But in order to be able to enter a car into NASCAR, it has to be considered a stock car. So you have to market this car like it has to be a car that somebody can walk in off the street, walk into your dealership, and buy off of your lot. So instead of, you know, using a car that they already made, that was already in production, they made a certain amount of Superbirds and Charger Daytonas, just enough for it to be considered a production vehicle. And then NASCAR said, okay, it's a production vehicle. And then they went back to focusing on making it into a NASCAR. But very, very interesting stuff here. So I just realized something. We didn't look at the base for almost any of the cars in this video. Oh, very interesting. RC2, look at that. So this base and casting actually are an RC2 casting from around 2005. Oh, it says Playing Mantis as well. I wonder if RC2 owned Playing Mantis. I don't know. One of these days I'm going to look up the whole history of who owned who with Johnny Lightning throughout the years. But there you go, is your production date, 8/24/2022. Huh. Playing Mantis and RC2 on the base. But obviously, like I said, round 2 owns Johnny Lightning at this point. So that is the base for the Superbird. Let's take a quick look at the Corvair. 4/17, 2019, and then I don't see... Right, this was a new casting, it said. So you don't have any Playing Mantis or Round 2 or RC2 or Tomy or anything like that printed on the base, because this is a Round 2 original casting. And then this Corvair. This one is a bit older, so we are going to get a 2002 Playing Mantis. It says 1954 Corvair used under license. And then we looked at the base of the Matchbox, right? Yeah, we talked about this. This is the one with the plastic base. All right. So let's load up everything into the parking garage. And we'll take one last look at everything under the lights. All right, so here we go. We're going to go on the bottom floor for this one, since we do have 6 cars technically today, although we only unboxed 4. So starting off, there's the Pedal Beast, the 1962 Plymouth Savoy, followed closely by the 54 Chevy Corvair. Another 1962 model year, the 62 Chevy Corvair. Our beautiful new 1970 Plymouth Superbird. And then down here on the end, of course, the 2 new Hemi-powered 1941 Willys Coupes, or Willys Coupe gassers, I should say. So that is all 6. Oh, we zoomed out too far. That is all 6 of our new cars for today's video. Some drag strip stuff, some random race car stuff, all kinds of random stuff today. But man, I've got a lot of cars to get through for you guys, but stay tuned and make sure you don't miss any of them. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Leave a comment, let me know which car was your favorite. Hit the like button for me and hit the subscribe button for me as well. And I will see you guys in the next video.